Right. Good evening. Welcome all. Thank you so much for joining us on a very short notice. We just planned this event on a very short notice, and all of you have joined us. Thank you so much. Today, it's a very important day for the cannabis industry in general. We all know the importance and the significance of 20th April as far as this particular industry is concerned. So, without wasting much time, the agenda and the reason of doing this event today is medical cannabis is growing at a very significant pace in our country and globally, and we have seen so many new countries coming up with legalizing this particular herb, this particular plant, and ultimately, end of the day, the entire society is getting benefited. We all know right now we all are suffering from this COVID situation, and people are helpless. But we have seen excellent results as far as CBD. There are very initial studies, very initial results coming up, but still, as far as the cytokine storm and many other aspects are there, we are not intent to discuss all these in today's session. But the thing is, the significance of this particular herb is tremendous. Otherwise, in so many other disease, is like we all know that it is quite effective. So and in by and large the entire society is getting benefited without the side effects which they are having with the harmful chemicals. I don't want to criticize to any pathy here, but as far as the side effects and the after effects of certain chemicals are there, and we have seen those are not being experienced by the people who are using CBD products and CBD oil. In fact, it is benefiting them. So let's start the session of the day today, and I request all of you to post any queries, any questions in the comment section, and accordingly we will take it after the session, and you are feel free to discuss any query and any question with our speakers, our panelists, and we will definitely connect to them. We are right now live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch TV, many other Facebook groups. It will be seeded, so all of you can take up your questions in the comment section. You can directly let us know, and we welcome all the panelists today. So one by one, as I will request each panelist to deliver a talk. We will introduce them to you. So first and foremost, I would like to invite the person from one of the, I will say, leading company in India right now. They have a very important launch also today. I think they have launched their Bangalore. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jahan. Bangalore Medical Cannabis Clinic and a center. So we have Jahan Peston Jamas from Boheco, that is Bombay Hemp Company. He's the co-founder of Boheco, a team of young, energetic guys. I always love to interact with them. Their energy, their enthusiasm, their motivation for medical cannabis, for hemp, food, for clothing, and many other domains is tremendous. They have been supported by various groups in our country, including the Tata Group, and we are lucky to have them as an associate on our platform. So thank you so much again, Jahan, for joining us today. And let's hear from you as far as what is your opinion about this particular industry, and what exactly Boheco and you people are thinking as far as 2021 is concerned. Thank you.
Uh, no, thank you so much for that, Dr. Piyush. And I think perhaps the best way to start is by wishing you a very happy birthday on behalf of the entire hemp and cannabis industry. And I'm sure wishes will continue to flow in. I think you've been a great sort of guiding to a force and inspiration for many. And, long may the days continue for the same as well. Along with this, I'd like to also say I think there's no better way to be celebrating 420 than being here with all our fellow panelists and all other industry professionals who are doing such a stellar job day in, day out, especially during the time of COVID and, during these difficult times. At least from our side, Bohico has spent a major part of the last 12 to 24 months, and I believe we've almost interacted with most members of the community also so far. I think the best way to break this up is across several domains, and perhaps the best place to start is in the policy and regulation domain, where we've seen several good pieces of news and good hits for the likes of example of FSSAI recognizing hemp seeds, seed oil and proteins, and the government notification due in the next 30 to 60 days, or whether we're talking about Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Madhya Pradesh, Goa, Manipur, Meghalaya, where the likes of Bohiko's policy a very good, very healthy year in succession on that as well. And I think there's no better cherry on the cake when we speak about policy than the fact that India, as unlikely as it was, voted in favor of cannabis rescheduling at the CNT. Back in March last year is when, on behalf of the industry, Bohiko also shared a letter requesting India to vote in favor. Of course, we didn't for about 4 out of 5, but the one we did was the one that counted. And that's the way we kind of view how together as an industry we'll continue to grow on the policy and regulation front. But similarly, on the research side, we've spent a major chunk of the pandemic planning out and getting a lot of the different pieces in place. For example, one of our human grade clinical studies received CDSE approval and import permission to actually import cannabis flower for academic trials in Mumbai on breast cancer patients. We've actually commenced trials at Jaipur with the National Institute of Ayurveda on one of our Ayurvedic arthritis full spectrum topical based formulations. And we have a couple of open label single arm studies for efficacy for several other products and formulations due through the year. But what has been critical as well is actually undertaking safety, toxicity, and stability studies where we realized through this preclinical work and being able to line it up with another 10 or 12 products which we have and formulations we have lined up through the year on Bohiko's behalf, it actually provides a layer of validation and credibility. And I'm sure many from the industry can also kind of echo that sentiment as we go forward. But even as the market and sort of the consumer and patient categories have begun speaking, we realized where the unique touch points and action points are, which is where over the last year we launched a couple of products across pain management, stress management, immunity, and an improved skin health product upcoming, along with a lot of B2B growth with different brands, whether it's hemp-based gin or it's a use of hemp seed oil for pets for to keeping their coats and their fur clean. Or, of course, as the fact Dr. Piyush, as you correctly mentioned, today Bohiko is actually launching one of his first offline stores come clinics in Bangalore after seeing the overwhelming response from a Karnataka audience that seems to be hungry not just for information, but products, knowledge, know-how, and the right support through the right sort of organizations, which as we have seen and worked together, we've actually worked on about 10 plus education and awareness webinars and of course, this includes the likes of the Harvard India Conference with Harvard Medical School and Yale doctors, with the goal being to take this forward into modular programs through our Bohiko Doctor Ambassador program and be able to carry this momentum forward. Where today, and as I'm sure many might be been aware, Bohiko has spent a major time of bit online through 30 plus online platforms were available, but the growth of offline has been tremendous, whether 75 offline retail touchpoints across 20 cities, whether we're talking about different doctors that we've been working with over the last year through the COVID pandemic, where we've reached out to upwards about 1,500 doctors. I believe about 100 plus are prescribing and dispensing our products. About 250 to 500 are already sampling them and doing observational studies. And patients are coming from all across India. And I think that's the real startling observation, because we have had patients and customers from 25 plus cities, from 25 plus states, from 85 plus cities and towns. We have patients from the likes of Zirakpur, some of the most rural parts of Karnataka. We've had doctors, not just Ayush and Ayurvedic or homeopathic doctors, but even the likes of oncologists and rheumatologists and orthopedics who have begun trusting cannabis and cannabis-based formulations a bit more because the intervention is not there. And this is, I'm sure, a realization most of us in the industry have had through the course, that today our products and formulations are being used for 55 plus different indication areas. And we did a tally and sort of a data analysis on this. Everything from cancer to RA to OA to Parkinson's, MS, fibromyalgia, Crohn's, anxiety, depression, etc. But the medical validation of this is startling, because this actually helps validate the Ayurvedic properties that we all know and respect about Vijaya cannabis. Whether you're talking about it as Shulhara as an analgesic, or Nidrakara as an inducing sleep agent, or whether Deepana for enhancing appetite, or Ruchia for enhancing taste, or Pachan for enhancing metabolism. All of this is speaking true in most of cannabis-based formulations and full spectrum extracts. I think that the best way to conclude this is also to pay a historical tribute to the fact that this didn't begin today. This began back in 1959 to 1961. The likes of Mr. B. N. Banerjee, who was the Central Board of Revenue, the likes of Tilak Raj, who's the Narcotics Commissioner, and the likes of Mr. B. Kidwai, who the first Secretary of the Permanent Mission, were some of the first technocrats and regulators who had actually fought to keep cannabis leaf and seed out of the definition or excluded from the definition of cannabis at the CND and the UNODC level. And it is thanks to their efforts that today us industry professionals are able to explore a traditional Ayurvedic medicinal pathway with the view to grow that towards cultivation-based phytopharmaceutical and pharmaceutical pathways through our unique and exclusive relationships with CSIR institutes, which we've had right from plant breeding all the way up to actual flower maturation and assessment of how cannabinoid output are of these. And that really speaks great tribute to the market opportunity that over the last year we've done a lot of data crunching and we arrived at five unique touch points. That is whether cannabis users and dependents who themselves who are essentially using cannabis for pain or sleep management. We estimate there are close to about 1.25 million patients and customers in this market opportunity that offer upwards of $160 million market sizing potential for us. From the likes of opioid users who are using opioids and abusing them for pain and sleep, there's a similar 7.6 lakh or 766,000 patient category or $114 million market size opportunity. Whether you're talking about sedative users for pain and sleep, there is 5 lakh, about 517,000 active patients and customers who are open to alternative suggestions or solutions. Whether you're talking neurotic or stress or mood disorders, there are about 1.5 million patients who are looking at alternatives to manage their mood and appetite because SSRIs and SSRLs are not doing the trick for them, which itself is another $160 million opportunity. Combined with the likes of 150 to 200 million arthritis OA and RA population, India is a uniquely served market from a patient, customer, organization, and traditional and modern medicine doctor point of view that today we estimate that is close to $500 million market size only across five limited categories that we spent the last year analyzing. And I think that speaks a great tribute not just to the work that we had began as one of the first organizations, but a great tribute to every single panelist who is here today, who has actively grown this in their own space, whether it's textiles, whether it's health, whether it's wellness. And what we anticipate for 2021 is a very exciting year ahead, which will speak in terms of commercial medicine attached to the Ayurvedic cannabis full spectrum usage, whether topical or sublingual, and will, of course, definitely translate into common data and information, which is, of course, the goal that everyone is seeking to develop, that will build cannabis into the unique customer D2C space, as well as the patient category space that the likes of opioids or morphines for pain management or the likes of SSRIs for anxiety or mood are currently unable and will be unable to fill from a gap point of view for the near future. So I think that's where I'd like to kind of briefly, of course, take a pause and thank Dr. Piyush once again for such a fantastic platform and his words of wisdom to begin this, and hand over to the rest of my esteemed co-panelists and industry members as well. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Jahan. And I think Boheco has done a remarkably you people have leading this particular category from the day one in terms of setting up the new milestones, in terms of creating the ways how this industry can take it forward. So again, thank you so much to you, to all of your co-founders and the entire team of Bombay Ham Company for setting up some milestones and setting up some examples in this country. And I think other organizations should take it forward from here. And as an industry, I really appreciate all of you because I have seen so many industries closely. I worked with industries in pharmaceuticals, clinical trials, Ayurveda, digital marketing, and many other aspects, and several other domains as well. So this particular industry, I feel that you all are here, and you all are very much positive, and each one of you are appreciating each other organization. I have never seen any kind of a negativity that is very important for any particular industry. This is a very initial phase as far as the cannabis entire industry in our country is concerned. So thank you so much, Jahan, for your time. And again, congratulations to you for your launch in Bangalore today. We are looking forward to have many more informative and exciting sessions from you and your team and the doctors who are associated with you on our platforms, and we will take it forward. Thank you. So now
Thank you,
moving
Dr.
forward, yeah, thanks. So now moving forward from here, as the topic of our session is global, so I would like to invite the speaker, the next speaker. He's having a flavor of global organizations. He's associated with the people and the organizations who are the leaders as far as Canada and other global industries and global markets are concerned. So let's have some insights and let's have some inputs from him as far as the global market and global industry is concerned, and what impact that is making for the Indian industry and the Indian scenarios. And as we understand that like there are certain Indian products you people are having, so maybe you can have some insight on those aspects as well. But predominantly we are looking forward from you. I'm talking about Raghav, the next speaker from our panel, and he's the director of Savikalpa Sciences. And he's a very learned professional at a very young age. He has acquired and gathered so much of knowledge, which I always appreciate. We had long discussions many times, and I really am very much impressed with the knowledge he is having right now. And he has done his homework very well prior to starting the products, the launch in this country. So, without wasting much time, Raghav, we would like to have some words from you as far as the global aspects of this particular industry is concerned. What are the various updates and what exactly 2021 is looking forward as far as this particular industry is concerned? Over to you, Raghav. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Piyush, and also thanks to Jahan for a lovely introduction, both of the work that Bohiko has done. And I would like to say, first and foremost, that we're all very much followers in the wake of the path that Bohiko has set for various practitioners or participants in the industry in India. Dr. Piyush, to your point, we're lucky to have in our midst persons who have tremendous experience in the global cannabis industry, in particular, my co founder, Mr. Vijay Sapani, who may perhaps be on this listening in. Vijay has tremendous experience having established one of the leading global cannabis firms in the form of Terrascend, which, as some of you would know, is a publicly listed firm in Canada on the Ontario Stock Exchange. And having successfully established and grown that business, he has also looked at opportunities around the world, including in India. Being an Indian origin Canadian, he was naturally keen to assess what the opportunity for cannabis and cannabis medicine in particular in India is. And that is how we got together a few years back to start to evaluate what potentially we can do in India, building on the experience that Vijay and his team and his colleagues have developed in markets such as Canada, Australia, the US, New Zealand, Portugal, Malta, and a few others I'm sure that I am forgetting at this point in time. Having said that, Dr. Piyush, to your point, our main objective is to look at, like Jahan very eloquently put, what the disease burden in the country is and how potentially both a combination of cannabis as well as Ayurveda can bring in terms of various reliefs with nominal adverse effects associated with other systems of medicine. There is a tremendous tradition here, and we are keen to try and evaluate how we can marry both modern science as well as, let's say, classical approaches to well-being in medicine as established in our traditional systems of medicine. For Savikalpa Sciences, we don't have a product in the market. We are not yet we're not yet ready for launch. But what we are doing is we've done fair amount of formulation work, and we are, like Jahan alluded to, doing some amount of observational studies again to build some understanding of the various indications. Yes, there is a lot of global data, but patient profiles are different, disease characteristics are different, and therefore also the manufacturing processes, the input raw materials, and the kind of controls or lack thereof that we may have in the country right now are things that we're cognizant of, and therefore we're trying to be fairly calibrated in approaching our product launches only after having done some amount of homework, if I can put it that way, internally to understand what potentially we can do with the formulations in the country. And to this I would say that there is a unique opportunity that India has, not just because of our large population, and that potentially you can address that commercially by creating valuable products that bring about relief, but also the fact that our regulatory challenges, I look at it as an opportunity. The fact is that if you want to be compliant, at least with the current regulatory framework, are limited to using full spectrum formulations. You're restricted to using whatever is kosher within the Ayurveda spectrum. But having spoken to a fair number of global Western medicine practitioners and leaders in their own right, and some of these are individuals who might be head of formulations of global pharmaceutical majors, the likes of Pfizer's and Novartis's of the world, we have got, fair confidence that it is in fact full spectrum cannabinoid medicine that may present the most significant properties for well-being across a range of indications. The challenge is that when you're working with pharmaceuticals, to really be able to identify what the methods of action are, what the individual cannabinoids are, what the interaction or interactivity with the endocannabinoid and other, let's say, body systems is, and then to isolate, identify what those pathways are and create a unique, IP controlled product, which is generally what the pharmaceutical industry is premised on, is a challenging exercise, both because of the science and then also just because of the complexity of plant-based formulations, plant-based chemicals. But having said that, if you draw a distinction between Western medicine and traditional systems of medicine such as Ayurveda, the objective is the same, right? It is to provide relief. The only difference is that in traditional systems of medicine, we have an understanding of what kinds of formulations in their full spectrum characteristics end up providing symptomatic or curative relief, as the case may be. Whereas in Western science, we try and identify what the specific methods of action of the compounds contributing majoritarily, the actives, so to speak, are. If the objective is not to create a corralled industry as exists largely in the case of global pharma, and to provide products that are beneficial and can really help what is a poor country deal with its very, very significant disease burden, then I think that there is a lot of merit in evaluating how we can look to create products that may not necessarily have patent protection across 50 markets or whatever the case may be, but that do genuinely provide the kinds of relief that Jahan alluded to as well, right? Across n number of indications, and perhaps 10, 15, 20 of those very substantially so, and at an adjunct level, perhaps 20, 30 more. So by and large, what Savikalp Sciences is doing at this point in time is also trying to identify how it can work with various institutions, various partners, with those could be research organizations. India has tremendous technical, scientific talent in the form of contract research organizations, and how really India can push the frontier when it comes to cannabis medicine. Because frankly, outside of the CBD universe or revolution, and also the recreational industry, which is not something that we ourselves are focused on. But for example, my partner, Mr. Sapani, has seen tremendous commercial success, also addressing what potentially the non-medicinal applications of the cannabis plant are, and they could be industrial, they could be recreational, and some blend in between. But for India in particular, I think that there is a real opportunity to push forward the science of full spectrum medicine and come out with products that not only help the Indian patient population, but potentially with some standardization, with some, like John said, with some preclinical work as well, right? With some in vitro studies, stability profiles, really create products that then India can take to a wider population globally. What we hope to do at Savikalp Sciences is collaborate with all of you as industry practitioners going forward, and try and also bring in also for the physician community, the doctors communities, both traditional as well as modern medicine practitioners, our learnings from our doctor networks around the world, majoritarily centered in Australia and Canada, but having gone through several thousands of patients and understood the kinds of dosages with very different, let's say, delivery formats or form factors, but still, what is the aggregate science and practical information that we have available, which we are trying to put into a digestible format so as to also be able to share with both industry practitioners as well as medical practitioners. So in short, that is where we're at. We are doing a fair amount of R&D and being a little calibrated before we actually come out with products in the market. Hopefully, Dr. Piyush, that answers to some extent your query.
Yeah, thank you, Raghav. And I think you people are doing a very good approach. You people are taking a very good approach in terms of first of all analyzing, first of all getting insights of this particular country, because every country has different aspects in terms of the modalities, in terms of the various effects, the safety aspects, the efficacy aspects, and various other aspects are there. So, thank you so much for having this particular mindset, because that is very, very significantly, I will say, required. It's the need of the hour, because many companies are just jumping in to this domain without realizing these aspects which you people are thinking right now. And we are looking forward to have many more sessions and many more discussions with you and your team, especially the global exposure which you are bringing up now in India. So that will definitely make an impact to this particular industry, and we all will be getting benefited from that. So thank you so much again for joining us today. We are looking forward to have many more associations and sessions with you and your company. Thank you.
Thank
So
you,
now
Dr.
moving forward, let's have a we listen to aspects of the industry. One is the leading company as far as our country is concerned. Another is the leading group as far as the global aspects is concerned. Let's have a blend of a startup also in this. So we have a person who has just started, who has recently launched his product, and let's listen from him. And we expect you from Sumit that what exactly a startup, what exactly a company, because there are some audience and some listeners in our panel. They are interested in learning that how we can start, what exactly the challenges are there as far as a startup is concerned in this particular industry. And many young people are coming up with an idea to start something with the products related to medical cannabis or food or any other category as well. So let's listen from you. We have another startup, a couple of more startups as well with us today, and we will be inviting their co-founders and founders as well. So first, let's listen from you. Just to introduce, Sumit Sinha is the founder of Happy Hemp. Uh, they just have one product right now, but they are coming up with many more products uh, that are in pipeline. And let's have a word from you, Sumit. We have seen some feedback of your products from some people who have started using. So maybe you can share that aspect as well. And one aspect which I really liked about you and your organization is that you people are putting very nice infographics. I request all of you to visit Happy Hemp social media platforms. So in a very interesting way, you people are compiling and presenting the research studies which are there all over the world, the data, the infographics. That is very, very important, very crucial for this industry, because nothing is hypothetical, nothing is magic. Everything is having a science, having a logic. Exhaustive research has been done, which you people are presenting in a very nice and informative way, which a layman can understand and take it forward. So without wasting much time, Sumit, let's hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Piyush. It's amazing to be here with everyone. Starting up in the space of medical cannabis in India is a bit of a bittersweet thing. When you understand medical cannabis, you understand there are many elements to it. There's a CBD element, there's a THC element. There's entirely a CBD isolate, or so many various kinds of product that exist which can help you target conditions. Obviously, the full spectrum has its own benefit, while only the isolates or the CBD has, can be used to target different kind of a age group or conditions, right? So when you talk about a startup, obviously something which involves a psychotropic substance, the need to understand the regulatory becomes heavily important, in my own opinion. I'll share one incident which happened with me. When I was starting up, my idea was to bring more and more transparency in the labeling part. Like, I did not know, it was my own lack of knowledge, that I'm sharing, which we ended up rectifying later. Is that why we're not talking about the CBD and THC present in it, right? Why are we not standardizing the entire, CBD and THC dosage across the medicines? Why the companies, those who are doing it, are not really doing it in the most transparent way? So this kind of gave me a whole bit of circle of the how the entire regulatory thing works. There is a a molecular phyto chemical based approach, which probably would take the allopathy route if you go from that. But when it comes to the Ayurveda space route, that is not something which how it operates, right? So I remember one of the mistakes which we did on our label was to mention that it contains what all important phytocannabinoids, something which probably could have caused trouble for us as a company, right? So we all understand the range of the phytochemicals it has, but then not being able to communicate to people what exactly is helping them is a bit of a challenge that I believe the regulatory should open up to. Probably, maybe not in the Ayurveda space, but definitely from the more allopathy route, which people can take from the India, or those who want to take should be given the opportunity. The regulation should become more and more open, more and more liberalized, I would say, for startups to understand that. Another thing is that a lot of states are willing to start the dialogue or have started the dialogue to legalize the cultivation of medical cannabis, which I believe is going to be very, very important, as we the industry. One of the key challenge which I've faced is the grayness associated with the sourcing of the cannabis leaf, right? There is no proper or dedicated cultivation which happens, which I hope will happen in the coming time after Himachal or Goa or any other states kind of take this entire legalization work, and there's a proper sourcing happening. It's going to also open up a lot of business opportunity for India at a global scale. One of the key challenge I have felt that India has faced because of the grayness is not being able to tap to the growing international market. So we all understand that India has the abundance of growth of cannabis. Like I believe 60% of the Indian state has the cannabis growing out of widely growing, and obviously Himalayan ranges are probably blessed to have the kind of conditions needed for the plant. But at the same time, the one of the key things that probably required for things to become part of a structured industry is good agriculture and collection practices, which I believe is something which is not existing when it comes to Indian cannabis space. So as I said, multiple bit of a liberalization has to happen, because India as a country has a tremendous potential to lead the global supply chain when it comes to either the hemp seed or hemp leaf, or even if things go good, we may be able to use the flower and the buds for the medicine preparation. But that's something which I may not assume right away. But even still, in order to execute things in the existing Ayush framework, a legal structure or a cultivation pattern which can help people either A, standardize the phytochemicals, B, being able to obviously have more transparency into the entire cultivation and the entire manufacturing process. I mean, manufacturing has transparency, meaning the input part mostly. So this can help us tap into the unimaginable potential. India has ability to offer raw materials at a cheaper price. I still, believe that the pricing is been a inhibitor for the growth of the industry. If you look across the globe, I believe Australia recently, or Germany, I believe, they have insurance payback for your medicines. I'm not exactly not 100% of how it works, but medicines do get covered as part of the insurance. And as the prices gets cheaper in Australia for medical cannabis, the adoption increased. So there's one company, I forgot their name, MCG Pharma or something, I believe. So they started manufacturing their products in Slovakia. They would import into Australia to reduce the prices, and that actually helped them create or capture, are able to serve more patients, right? Because the pricing significantly went down. I believe one of the theory or one of the thesis Happy Hemp is also trying to do is to control the prices, offer the same quality product as the peers are offering, but to make sure that the prices remains within the reach of the people. I pretty much in my 30 years of life do not remember using medicines worth 4,000 or 5,000 bucks. I'm pretty sure those who come from middle class India would also, coherent to that. I talk to a lot of patients, even though our products are cheaper in the range, they find it expensive. It kind of, I left with no answer. Like, how do I tell you that I am probably trying to do my best so that we can create a more, affordable solution? But well, this is not how the majority would take it up, right? So as a company, our focus is obviously to create products that are efficacy driven. We have done a lot of R&D into understanding the next formulations line. You will not believe we started the company last year in 2020 in March, and it took us around a year to understand what exactly one product we should go out with. We realized that the leaf extract is probably the most difficult product in the entire spectrum of hemp seed or hemp leaf to go out with. Be it a learning from your startup point of view, or be it establishing the demand of the kind of alternate medicines you want to create. This was the perfect one thing, just one thing, focusing on one thing, executing it in the most efficient way, and converting the thought process, communicating it with the doctors, with the patients. That has been the focus. The next product line, we've been working it from a very long time. The idea was to infuse all the herbs. I mean, given the fact that we operate in the beautiful Ayurveda space, which has always focused upon the naturally available resources for healing of individuals, we want to borrow the ability and efficacy of other herbs, infuse it with Vijaya, create a product that is purely natural, that has the maximum potential, which can be given out to the someone's wellness. So a lot of these things remain in center of ours as a thought process. Along with that, we believe that technology has to come into play a bigger role, be it from a tracking point of view, to ensure that the prescriptions are not being misused. I would, if you let me talk about opioids, I might just go on for another hour and probably bash opioids here and there. But when we deal with something as sensitive as cannabis, the onus and the responsibility again comes to us to ensure that there is no potential abuse of the medicine happening. I mean, it's not about the recreational use being legal, bhang is legal. It's about the purpose get defeated when you are voicing your, when you are, at the peak of your, breath, talking about how good the plant is. But even one or two such incidents kind of just takes those of your critics, even add more and more substance to against this entire cannabis domain, right? So as a company, we would very soon be deploying a technology-led solution which can help us tackle the entire abuse part of it, how we can check abuse across the system. We've been talking to multiple doctors, doing a sample studies with them. We have reached out doctors from Gujarat, doctors from Rajasthan, probably pan India doctors. I could get hold of it. Took my time to explain Vijay. A lot of doctors do understand Vijaya, but all of them have concerns as well, given its psychotropic nature. So as a company who is manufacturing products, the onus of checking the abuse is also largely on us. So that also remains one of our focus as a company, along with efficacy-driven products. We would want to set up a structure that ensures that people gets right kind of a medicine, because I guess in the pharmaceutical industry, proxy products or fake products is also a big challenge. As soon as the entire CBD becomes mainstream line, or something which is not a fringe of the alternate cares, people would try to probably use weeds to create medicines out and use someone else's label to sell fake products. So that becomes also a challenge for a pharmaceutical company. And given the fact that we may be targeted very easily as compared to any other products, given the nature of the substance. So a lot onus comes on checking the quality, making sure the right kind of product reaches people, and obviously the product that reaches has the desired efficacy that people are looking out for. So people, those who want to start up, I mean, I'm going to just summarize into key points, is that in the cannabis space, very important is to know the regulatory. Very important is to know, how things or what is allowed, what is not allowed, what exactly are you doing. Do not get sensationalized by the word CBD. I've seen a lot of companies sensationalizing the CBD, which is not really accurate to do, given how Ayurveda works. At the same time, ensuring that you are ready to do the extra mile of uh, generating awareness around it. It's very, very critical, the stage that we are in, that people understand the right things the right way. Infographics is an effort to use the minimum amount of time to generate the maximum amount of information, given that the information has a substantial backing. It takes an amount of time to read papers. To even the papers are not, it's not that you just read a paper and it immediately transforms into an infographic. It has to be consumed, organized, to make sure that people get the correct information in a flow that would take the least amount of time. Nobody's going to sit and read multiple things. I've tried doing blogs, writing a blog post, but I realized that blog posts people do not read a lot. I did not really get maybe a lot of what do you call it, a traction or a reach to people than I believe I'm able to generate using the infographics. So finding ways to engage with people is what I would also ask the coming entrepreneur, is that you need to find a way to engage with people that can help spread good words about the product, generate awareness about the about the medicines, because we are in a space where we want to create the market. The market, to be honest, does not really exist. If I take even one FMCG product of one multinational company, the entire cannabis company's business would probably just fit into that number or the volume, right? So as of now, the idea would be to join voices to find ways to communicate. Research backed is the best way to do it. Very soon, we would be also doing a fourth phase of the clinical trial of our product. Very soon, we are planning to do that. We have already started working upon it, and we hope to do it. There's something which takes their own course of time. I can't simply do it in a months or weeks time. But yeah, we have already started on that. The idea would be to establish that the products are clinically proven, the products have the desired efficacy, and obviously people can have it at an affordable pricing, and obviously the entire technology led layering to ensure that the safety and the efficacy and the tracking remains paramount and transparent. I guess that's all I can add from my end. I believe there's so many people who would like to add points. I tried to cover what all I felt is kind of close to my heart when it comes to the cannabis space.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sumit. And I think this was a very informative talk. We have certain audience. They are asking to put up some questions to you as well. So that means that you have nicely summarized the entire aspect. So we'll take up the questions. Please, I request all the audience to start posting their queries. And quickly, without wasting time, a very important announcement for all of you, for the panelists, and then we will proceed with the session. We just want to announce this. We just want to thought to share with all of you that one platform we thought to create, and why the name is CBD. CBD Vadyas, as Sumit correctly mentioned, there is a hype as far as the word is concerned. CBD. There are so many other cannabinoids like THC, hemp is the word, Vijaya is the word. So many people asked why, doctor, the name is CBD Vadyas. So the only answer is, see. Uh, in fact, the answer is also again in the Sumit talk that we need to create the market. There is nothing as far as the market is concerned right now in India. Now, when we did some research, we did some pilot project research in terms of how people are searching. So there are two aspects of creating a market. One is push and one is pull. So push is you are pushing some thought and some product or some category to the consumers, and another is the pull, that they are searching and then they are getting connected. So pull is always better as compared to push in terms of getting good quality customers and good quality consumers of your particular brand or your particular product or the particular industry in general. So what we realized, we did a sample survey, and we are right now one of the leading medical cannabis clinic as well, thanks to certain platforms and certain companies. Till now, more than 5,000 patients we have healed as far as medical cannabis is concerned in India, which I think is one of the largest right now. And when we did some research, we find out that when somebody is searching for food products, they search with the keyword hemp. as far as the hemp seed oil is concerned, hemp powder is concerned. But if somebody is searching for a medical solution for any problem, for any disease, the prime keyword is CBD. They are typing CBD oil or CBD products or CBD consultation or that kind of product, that kind of keywords they are using. Why? Because globally people are having this particular keyword. So if there any friend, relative, or family member is in US, Canada, or any part of the world, and they got this communication, okay, this is effective and this is like really working for them, and they have searched in India, and then they connected to platforms and to the doctors like us. So that is the reason that why we have created this platform with the name cbdvadyas.com, because again, with due respect to other cannabinoids, and the full spectrum plant is always a very crucial in terms of medical management is concerned. So there is nothing to do with that particular aspect. It's just a simple research which we have done. So this keyword is right now, you can say, the top trending keyword, and so we will get more and more people who are looking forward. And the second idea to all the audience, to all the people who are listening right now, predominantly the doctors. So we have created this platform for you. We are very much thankful and we are very much excited to share that we got a very good response as far as our certification course is concerned. We have recently launched, and today is the last date for the application. We have already received hundreds of queries, and more people are pitching in to get enrolled and to start learning, to start the journey of learning about medical cannabis practice. And all the panelists and all the organizations who are right now here with us, we request all of you to associate with us in this certification. The technical people from your company, the medical people from your company can take sessions, lectures, and they can guide and do the orientation of all these doctors. So we are looking forward for your support. And quickly, let me just give you a. It's a very simple site as far as CBD Vadyas is concerned, and it's a very simple, you can say, site. Let me just give you a brief outlook of this site, and then maybe we can proceed with the session as far as our next speaker is concerned. So, and I request all the doctors, just email us. The email ID is flashing on your screen. So just email us if you are interested in getting connected, if you are interested in doing medical consultation, if you are interested in getting connected to all the organizations who are there on your screen. They all have a model of connecting directly to the doctors. So I request all of you to please let us know, and accordingly we can take it forward. And now let me quickly just have a look. I think you, all of you, are able to see. So this is a very simple site. We intend to keep it a very simple site. It's just you can click on the consultation, and right now it will be a form, but we are working on automation. That I think there is some issue, maybe the beta version is right now, so the site team is working on that. So it's a just simple form which you can connect, and then there are certain products which we have randomly right now picked up from our associates. So there will be more and more products and more listings, and they can just click on the product and it will redirect to the parent site where these products are being sold. And then we will be having some articles, some blogs. As Sumit correctly mentioned, not many people are interested, but yes, still there are some people who will be interesting. So I request all of you to share your respective blogs. We have some blogs from your respective sites, but we can have more as far as articles and blogs are concerned. And eventually we will be doing an automation in terms of booking the consultations are concerned. So thank you so much again for your continuous support, and we are looking forward to have all of you with us on this platform, that is cbdvadyas.com. And we will be looking forward for more and more active involvement of the doctors, because one aspect is there, those who are practicing medical cannabis are gradually getting a bit saturated in terms of consultations are concerned. So we need to grow the community. We need to grow the medical practitioners who want to come forward and practice medical cannabis. Then only we can grow this industry. So let's quickly move to our next panelist and the next speaker of the day. And again, we listened, we have understood the perspective of an Indian organization, then we move towards the global. And then Sumit was there with a startup. We have couple of more startup, Vikram, Shivam, then Brijendra is there. So we will be listening to all of you. But quickly, I want to pitch in a guy who is not yet started, but why we have invited him and why we are involving him, because he's having an excellent global perspective and excellent global exposure of this particular industry, that is medical cannabis, and in cannabis in general as well. I'm talking about you, Arjun. So we have Arjun Khanna with us. He's not yet started his organization. He's in the verge of getting it started, maybe in few weeks and few months. But still, we want to have him on this session. Why? Because we need a right now. Don't mind. I will consider you as a layman because you are not in the industry. So we want to hear from you as well. How you the simple question is why and how you thought to have this particular domain as a company, or maybe you want to start this, and your global exposures which you have shared with us previously. So what you think and what you feel, that how this particular domain, this particular category, and you have certain thoughts which I want to hear from you, which Sumit has also raised about the THC ratio. Why
Yes.
India is not legalizing or regulating, or maybe coming in picture with the high THC ratio products, which you have some insights and you have some experience as well. So quickly let's listen from you. Arjun Khanna is the director of ABR Associates, and he will be coming up soon with his partner and other associates as far as a medical cannabis company is concerned. So Arjun, let's hear from your point, and specifically, please elaborate and please have some word on the THC ratio. However, I request all of you, we have limited time, so please conclude your talk in a.
I'll just be 5 minutes, Dr. Saab.
Over
So
to you.
I'd like to start primarily by addressing the issue of the THC content in the hemp plant. So primarily speaking, there is much larger medicinal value attached to THC as compared to CBD because of the strength of the substance, right? THC is a much stronger substance as compared to CBD. So CBD is much milder in terms of pain relief and other aspects that we use it for. So my problem with the Indian market is it's so nascent right now, and our laws are so archaic at the moment, which we need to now sort of catch up with the world on. And as you see in America and Canada, decriminalization is a federal subject, but legalization has been a state subject, and it's been legalized state-wise. India is also going to be following a similar model in the coming years, because I believe that decriminalization is being worked upon as we speak, and it's been going on since last year. There were various committees formulated under the chairmanship of the Vice Chancellor of the National Law College, Bangalore, and things like that. So I think this government is generally taking some steps toward legalization, which is a very bold step because of the stigma attached to cannabis and other things. I mean, it comes under classification of Class A substances, shockingly still in India. So having said that, I think we're still in the nascency, and we have to work more on policy and R&D and less on product development first, because at the end of the day, we need to open up verticals which are still being controlled. I mean, opium farming takes place in a controlled fashion, right? It's licensed in states like Madhya Pradesh, in states like UP, in states like Rajasthan. Why can't we do the same for medical marijuana? And if there is a stigma attached to it here, which will take some time to obviously get over, and will require a lot of awareness creation and things like that, a lot of positive reinforcement on part of our marketing campaigns and thereon. But before that, like I said, I'm reiterating, we have to work on policy. We have to work on R&D. We have to make the government understand that to maximize the output from this sector, because India has some of the most fertile land for cannabis cultivation in Himachal Pradesh. The seeds there are supposed to be some of the best quality seeds anywhere in the world. Why are we not being allowed to harness this treasure trove that we have sitting in India? It's only because of red tape and policy restrictions. America was the country which led us into criminalizing marijuana in the 80s. They've decriminalized it. Why don't we follow suit? So these are some of my primary concerns, and these are the verticals I want to focus on more. And I'm also in the process of launching my own product at the moment. I mean, we're, studying various aspects of certain products and what will help, what won't help. But that's really not my primary focus. That's just to get a foot in the door, to be very honest. My primary focus is policy and R&D at the moment, and how we can help tweak this policy and fast track this process of decriminalization of marijuana, and then slowly allow us to export to countries where it's legal before even allowing it for consumption here. And forget about the recreational use. I'm purely talking of medicinal marijuana, because I was in talks with certain people in Canada and America, and they kept reiterating how much better the seed quality and the soil quality in Himachal is as compared to most other parts of the world. They only spoke of Mazar-e-Sharif in Afghanistan and the Malana belt in Himachal. So, having said that, an ex-Marine told me that, the potency of your seeds is so high in Himachal that genuinely it possesses cancer curing qualities, or so it is to be believed. But it's not even been looked into. The least we can do is start looking into these aspects through proper R&D. That is where I think primarily our focus should lie in, because Indian market is so nascent at the moment. The market size is so small when it comes to the products. We have to start looking at the macro picture and not really the micro picture. I think everyone, like I said, is just trying to get the foot in the door. So am I. But if we all align our resources and push towards decriminalization of marijuana as soon as we can, I think that is what is going to be paving the way for the future for us and for this industry in India. I think I'd like to conclude with that, Dr. Saab. Any questions? Any thoughts?
Thank you. Thank you, Arjun. Thank you. Questions we will take after the session. We have several other speakers who are waiting. So we are already getting questions. Sumit, we have a question for you. Raghav, we have questions for you as well. Jahan, we have questions for you as well. So questions are pouring in. So many doctors are there. So many other people are there. But quickly we will move to two more startups, and then we have some more organizations, aggregators, manufacturers. It's a nice bouquet we have today of the panelists. So without wasting much time, and thank you, Arjun, for this particular aspect, which I believe should be raised. Sometimes many organizations play defensive. Sometimes many platforms play defensive. But I promise you, and I promise to all the organizations here and the people, that in whatever the capacity we can, we will raise this issue. Why not? We can have better THC ratios, and why can't we have more? And if we can have opioid analgesics, if we can have so many other harmful chemicals with a controlled prescription mechanism in our country, why can't we have high THC products with the same controlled mechanism in our country, in the prescription model, in a control access model? We have so many sensitive molecules, sensitive drugs, harmful drugs which are there. So why not high THC products in a controlled medical
and to open it for export, because the export market is actually much bigger than the Indian market, and our cost of production is much cheaper compared to any other country in the world that's currently doing it.
Absolutely.
Thailand, every other country is opening up. Why shouldn't we?
Sure. We will definitely raise this issue on an ongoing process. So quickly, let's move to another panelist of the day, another speaker of the day, as we are right now discussing about various startups. And he's a young guy, and I really like their energy. The entire team is so energetic, so dynamic, and the thought process is excellent. They want entire batch to be analyzed. They want research-backed products. They want a micro level thing, all the micro level aspects to be taken care of prior to their launch. So I appreciate the entire team of Oshad and Shivam. We have Shivam Singhi right now with us, the founder of Oshad. So thank you so much, Shivam, for having this mindset and inculcating that mindset to your entire team as well. And we are looking forward to have excellent products from your company very soon. So quickly, maybe you can let us know what is your journey till now, what are your experiences, your challenges, and any tip, any suggestions you want to give to the people who are looking forward to start a startup as far as medical cannabis industry is concerned. Shivam, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Piyush. Firstly, thank you so much for organizing this entire thing. It's been extremely helpful, very knowledgeable for most people listening, I'm sure. Good thing about going behind after a lot of these esteemed panelists is they've already covered most of the points that I would have liked to cover in a conversation about cannabis in India. I'm extremely extremely excited about our company. We are about to launch in June, hopefully, unless this lockdown brings more sort of terror on us as it already has right now. Um, we are a startup with four founders. I have three extremely well skilled in their own fields sort of co founders who are helping us set up this entire thing. As Dr. Piyush said, that we are extremely conscious about quality of our product. We understand CBD extremely well. I myself have been a user and advocate for over a decade. I am I actually started my CBD journey from the US. I spent a lot of time, in fact, last right before pandemic 2020, I was in the US trying to set up a CBD company in the US, and the pandemic sort of forced me to confront the CBD industry in India because I was locked down here. And that's when I saw that there is opportunity, even though the regulations that have been already talked about are extremely murky, not very clear, but the potential is there, and that sort of got me excited. My previous panelists like Jahan and Raghav already spoke about how there is a difference in the patients, the illness profiles in our country. There's a lot of difference in spending power in India. Most of our uh, I would say customers cannot even afford the product that we are trying to make, and that actually poses a huge problem. I think Sumit already covered this, that we are not able to create effective and good quality products for large masses. We are just automatically pushed into a niche segment, and that is something that we like to rectify. Our company also is trying to produce high quality products, but for cheaper. But for cheaper, I wouldn't really say cheap because they're still pretty expensive. But at least we are trying to, or we are consciously trying to not drive up the price of our products too high. I think that is going to be extremely important because, as Sumit already mentioned, we are all trying to uh, create an industry right now, and that is a task for all of us together. Only if the industry survives do any of us small companies survive and have the potential to grow big in the future. So I think to get our industry going, we need to make sure that all our products are being uh, sold. Firstly, people are buying them, people are using them, and I think the affordability part will become a huge problem later when we want to go beyond the niche segment of the society. Because India, even though it's a large market, all of us small companies trying to target a very small part of this market is not the right solution, according to me. I'm also glad that Arjun spoke up right before me, talking about policies and regulations. And even though I'm sure that not all of us companies are going to be aligned towards getting these regulations passed or making
Sure.
sure the government is following up. I'm glad that there'll be people like Arjun and other companies who will be doing this because I think because it's a new industry, we'll need all sorts of prongs and all sorts of areas where we need pushing from. And I mean, the way I see it is a panel like this where we all young adults getting into this industry, we should be able to help each other out, in different aspects of it, whether it's regulations or product formulations or even lab testing. All of these things need to come in the forefront. And I mean, I don't want to take up anyone else's more of your time because most of the points that I had have already been covered by Jahan, Raghav, Sumit, Arjun already. I'm just happy that Dr. Piyush set up this panel and this website for our future use. And I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you guys. And yeah,
Same here.
cheers.
Thank you, Shivam, and thank you so much for having this mindset. As we all need that in terms of doing lab analytic, doing research, doing exhaustive like homework and parameters. Recently, we have seen honey. So many samples of honey got rejected in our country because they were having adulteration and having sugar. And there are very few companies, in fact, one or two companies, their honey samples got qualified in terms of the adequate quality is concerned. And there is one company I know, I don't want to name any brand or company in this event, but they spend so many huge like amount in terms of getting tested from an international lab. As far as each batch comes with a QR code, and you can scan and get the lab report that it is tested and it is safe. So that kind of mindset we all need to inculcate as far as this particular industry is concerned, because mind you, we are dealing with the human lives, so we can't compromise on the quality. And on the same note, again, as far as we have already talked about medical cannabis, the category also have which few companies are already dealing, like for example Bombay Ham companies are also having. But I really like that a startup, this particular company comes up with a portfolio of having medical cannabis product on one side, food hemp seed powder, hemp seed oil on another side, then exciting range of cosmetics as well, in terms of the serum, in terms of the face wash, body wash, many other exciting products. So I really congratulate this particular team. I want them to maybe right now take it forward in terms of as a startup. What exactly the challenges are there? Because already we are talking exhaustively on medical cannabis, but maybe you people can throw some light on the food as well as the cosmetic products which you have launched, so that many people who are right now listening to you are very much interested in knowing the challenges and the maybe the opportunities as far as the food and cosmetic products of cannabis, or I will say hemp. As far as food is concerned, the word which is being mostly used is hemp, and technically it's a hemp seed and hemp seed oil. By the way, let me clarify to all the audience, as far as the hemp seeds, hemp seed oil are concerned, this is one of the best superfood right now available, especially for the vegans. Having a good source and good ratio of protein and omega, it is having a golden ratio of omega, and one of the best ratio, I will say, apart from the fish oil. For the vegan, hemp seed oil is tremendous, and it's very good, and all of you can use this, and this is without any psychotropic agent, about almost nil THC. So although on one side we are advocating THC for the medical use, on the other side many people are still don't want, and in their food, in their regular food habits, they don't want to have THC. So that's fine. And hemp seed oil does not have generally the THC, and at a very minimum or a negligible level. So all of you can have in your food, and people from Uttarakhand, people from Himalaya are living good quality life. And these days we are all focused on wellness. We are fighting with this infection. So it will boost your immunity, it will improve your quality, it will improve your wellness. And we all need, I think this pandemic, this COVID has taught all of us that we can spend a 500 bucks on pizza, we can spend a thousand bucks on a movie ticket, but we can't spend 500 or 1000 buck on a good product that is hemp seed oil or a hemp seed. We still look for a 100 rupees oil rather than a 500 or 1000 rupees oil, because it will help us. And that mindset needs to, it's not about the problem of money, it's the mindset we need to change. We all need to change, and we need to have good healthy products which will improve your health and which will help all of us to fight this pandemic. So without wasting much time, Vikram Beer Singh is there with us. He is the co-founder of Ananta Hamworks, a very again dynamic team. I really appreciate Abhinav and Vikram. Both of you are really doing a tremendous work. The passion, the energy I see in both of you is tremendous. Somehow Abhinav is not well today and he's not joining us, but Vikram is there, and we welcome you, Vikram. And we want to listen specifically from you, especially the category which all of the audience are need to be aware about. We did one session with you already on our platform. Still, you can have some thoughts, and any other thoughts and any other aspects you want to share, you can. Vikram, over to you.
Hi. Thank you, Dr. Saab, and hi to everyone. So we guys are also a very young company. We guys started last year. It took us a lot of research, like Arjun was also mentioning that one of the challenges we guys are facing is in the R&D and the stigma part of this industry. So we spent a lot of time starting 2019 in terms of researching about this industry, and how properly legally we can be placed into the market. What are the applications, and with so many different type of applications, we guys decided finally to settle down with three lines. And though our primary focus is on the Ayurvedic medicine side, and main research and all the collaborations and all the work which we are doing is towards that, and we are working towards more and more classical and proprietary formulations. But we also discovered that the cosmetic side and the nutritional side also has a big application in this country. And using the hemp seed oil, as Dr. Saab said, it has a lot of nutritional value, but it has a lot of tropical value also. And by researching for about a year, we were able to concise and come down to some products. And finally, we were able to launch a line in which we have launched about 7 cosmetic SKUs. We've been getting very good response on that, and we are still increasing our customer base. We're still in the first quarter of our sales only, but the response which we are getting, I'm sure that 2021 and 2022 will be great year for this industry. Correctly put, and I completely agree with Arjun that as an industry, we guys need to be together when it's required in terms of regulations. Those every company's aim will not be that, but to build up the industry, just not from the manufacturer point of view or the retailer point of view, but from the client point of view and the doctor point of view. It is very very important for all of us that we should get together in whatever way and whatever capacity we can. um, I'm aware that there are great products in the market now, and people are doing a lot of research. They are applying modern technology and science to these classical medicines, which has been the biggest stigma for anybody to handle. Because the problem which generally comes with these medicines, ancient stigma which is attached to it, is the toxicity issue, which with today's time, with today's technology, I think we can very well handle it. And the second bigger problem is the customer awareness. So as a company also, if you look at our platforms and you look at our handles, our main objective right now is to handle the awareness of the customers in terms of teaching them about hemp, in teaching them about what applications they are medically, food wise, cosmetic wise, and where all in their lives they can use it. And that is why our strategy also is not really product driven right now. It is concept and industry driven. And I truly believe that if and I completely agree that this industry is very nascent right now. And but if we come together and bring this industry into a bigger pie, I think everybody will benefit out of it. As already shared by everybody, most of the points have already been taken care of. And it's great to it's great to be on this panel. I'm very excited to work in this industry, and I think 2021 and 2022 will be the foundation years of this industry in this country. And we are here to deliver the best to our customers, and with our own set of experiences and specific like driven missions. I'm sure that in the next couple of years that this country, this product, this plant, its byproducts, industrial, medical, lifestyle, whatever it is, I think I think it will be in everybody's everyday use. So we need to just be aware of our quality. And I completely agree with the point when somebody shared that the onus of the quality also comes to us, and the misuse of the product also comes to us. And that is a big thing, because on one side we're fighting a stigma, and that is the reason why government policies, all these things are not in place right now. And then second, and then on the other side, if there's a misuse which happens in the market, will also come back to us. So we as a company also are very, very aware of this. We have been very, very conscious on the legal side. We have been very conscious on recommendations, consultations, and how this medicine can be provided to the client incorrectly. Equally, we've been very conscious in terms of approaching the doctors and spreading the awareness of this plant in practicing in the medical side and also on the lifestyle side. On the lifestyle side, it's more easier because there is a curious angle involved of hemp right now. Everybody asks what this is, and when they read a hemp-based face wash, so we get a lot of inquiry that how hemp is used here also, and what benefit does it have in cosmetics. So those kind of inquiries, those kind of answers when we are giving to the customers, it's actually giving me a lot of satisfaction, because I think the word of mouth and the speed at which the awareness of this plant is growing in this country is also very important, equally important compared to the policy driven angle. Because once there is acceptance, I think it's kind of a complementary situation that the government and the political atmosphere needs to be there to take things forward, but the customer acceptance also has to be there. So which starting 2019, I think has taken a very rapid turn. So we guys, as a policy, as a marketing policy, as a awareness program, we are concentrating on just making the customers aware. In nutritional side also, we are doing collaborations, like we did a collaboration with a restaurant in GK2 M Block, Delhi, which is Sidecar, one of the most renowned bars in India. So we introduced some hemp-based dishes with them. We had a phenomenal response to that. Though because of the lockdown, the place is shut again, but the time period we were able to serve, everybody was very curious. Now with that curious questions coming in, just not the nutritional, we were able to make them aware about the different applications from medical to lifestyle to everything. So I think that is where we believe that if we offer a portfolio of three lines, which is lifestyle is completely different, nutrition is completely different, medicine is completely different, we'll be able to tackle a wider market and kind of accelerate the awareness program. So that is one of our main thoughts behind offering more SKUs, but primarily concentrating on the Ayurvedic medicine side, and now going ahead doing more R&D and targeting specific problems to target specific conditions. And that is where we guys are coming from. Yeah, I think that's where I would like to wrap up. And once again, Dr. Saab, congratulations for the platform, and very happy birthday to you once again. And thank you
Thank
guys
you.
for listening up.
Thank you, Vikram, and thank you for again having this mindset and thought. And really, you people have developed nice quality products. So quality is the key moving forward. So thank you so much again for joining us today. Now we have a couple of more startups, but prior to that, I want to take a session or take a talk from a person who is owning an aggregator, having a platform where several companies are there, and they are realigning the things, and they are again in a phase of aggravating and kind of a relaunching and taking it forward, and being from the part where there is not much maybe I will say linkage or connectivity. Awareness is there, which I understand. I have not been to the all the states of Northeast, but as far as I know, that awareness is there. Awareness is huge, but still some connectivity and some communication needs to be more exhaustively established. And we would like to listen that aspect also from you, Brujendro, and also about your platform, what exactly you are looking forward as far as 2021 is concerned, and maybe your expectation from the regulator, doctors, or the community in general. You can share, but yes, do specify about the Northeast, about that particular area, what exactly the medical cannabis is. We understand some. I am not aware about exactly, but there are, I think, Mizoram, or I'm not aware. Correct me if I'm wrong. Meghalaya, some state have started some movement as far as cannabis is concerned, and we always talk about Uttarakhand. We always talk about Himachal, but Northeast, I believe, is having a huge potential in terms of medical cannabis cultivation, in terms of growing this particular industry. The people there are having higher level of knowledge and higher level of understanding, and education is not about I would define this as a maybe a we have IQ and EQ, but we can coin a term that is CQ. So that CQ, that is cannabis quotient, is very very high, which I believe, and a I will say sensible usage, which I have realized is there. So that I appreciate really about the people from Northeast, which I have been communicating, and I have been into discussions. So Brujendro Singh is the founder of Empistani. I really like this name. We all are Hindustanis, and apart from Hindustani, he is Empistani as well. And I really like your pick, which you share with me always. And thank you so much for joining us today, Brujendro. And let's listen from you, your viewpoint, and what exactly you want to communicate to the entire community here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Juneja, for having me once again. Happy birthday to you. Well, talking about Hempistani, Hempistani is an e-commerce platform wherein we cater hemp products specifically and proudly made in India And it's not just simple hemp seed oil or any medicinal cannabis, but anything and everything that can be produced from hemp. So our platform will completely focus on the products and the brands and the new upcoming entrepreneurs whosoever are interested in knowing this miracle plant. Our doors are always open. So in terms of digital marketing, in terms of advertisement, Hempistani is there to help anybody who wish to go ahead and start up their brand. And as far as the consumer is concerned, yes, we do have the entire product line available. It's a one-stop shop that we have built. The reason to build this e-commerce platform is it's a personal issue that I faced back in like 2016 and 17 when I was doing the research on cannabis, and we haven't formed Hempistani at that point of time. And I've tried to find out that is there any relevant site or a platform where I can go ahead and purchase these dietary supplements or a CBD product or a medical cannabis. I couldn't find anything. So with this agenda, I and my other two partners, we went ahead, and that's how Hempistani was created. So at the moment, currently we have the B2C phase wherein we are catering entirely to our consumers. Doesn't really matter that whether it's a medical cannabis patient or it's just a health enthusiast or a normal regular person who wish to maintain a good dietary. Apart from all those market products that we have, we are not sure that what kind of ingredients that are put into, and what we don't even know that what kind of nutrients or health benefits are there. But yes, since despite the fact that hemp is a complete superfood, which provides many different nutritional values apart from 17 to 18 amino acids, omega 3, 6, 9, just like our panelists mentioned. So we have enormous health benefits. Not just apart from that, we have other things that we are also focusing. We are trying to get into the global level wherein we can get into the B2B industry also, but that is yet to come as time passes by, as more policy changes comes into the action. Yes, we will go ahead and introduce that particular platform also, wherein our Indian industrial cannabis industry people can go ahead and participate and go ahead and make more hemp products for export purposes and create their own livelihood. And talking about the policies and everything that we generally see over here is yes, a lot of change is required in terms of the 0.3% THC that we have this red tape. Yeah, it really needs to go. It doesn't even make sense, to be very honest, personally, from my point of view, because right now what I see over here is CBD product has been exponentially mentioned everywhere. CBD this, CBD that. However, what really people do not understand that other components are also required. So let's say THC is required, CBN is required, CBG is required. So everything, all the compounds, when it's come together, it's called the entourage effect. So people miss that part. Most of even the doctors do miss the part. That's what I've encountered. So yes, full spectrum hemp products or CBD products is something that, yeah, I would recommend. Apart from that, Dr. Juneja, as you just mentioned about the northeast part, even in my state, in Manipur. 2 years ago, the chief minister of the Manipur did declare that yes, the legalization of hemp cultivation will take place. However, at this point of time, we haven't heard much about it. Apart from the Manipur state, Arunachal Pradesh is there. Interestingly, it's already legal, but in a different way. you can actually get in touch with the IS officer and get a permit for recreational consumption. That you can do it. So, talking about recreational also, I personally, I do go ahead and support the recreational use of cannabis. I mean, it doesn't gonna hurt you. It's never hurt anyone. And secondly, yes, um, we talk about opioid epidemic. We talk about other epidemics, so and so. Luckily, it's not that drastic in India. Trust me. You don't see anyone at the road shooting up a heroin or some other substances at all. You don't see that. You will see a drunkard guy, crash somewhere. So, as far as our country is concerned, we are pretty much safe, and we have a responsible users also. So, right now, if we talk about cannabis, that would be, and if we don't include it in terms of decriminalization or legalization, especially for the recreational, that will be, I would say, and not a proper justice that has been given to the recreational users. Why? Because let's say, see, there is nothing wrong with a drug, any kind of drug. Okay, first of all, the person or anybody whosoever is talking about drug, they need to understand the definition of drug. What is a drug? All right. So there's a thin line in between the drug, recreational and medicinal. That is what people need to understand. Okay. Why? Because even I can go ahead and OD myself on a OTC medicine. Trust me, I can do that. I can do it very easily. All right. And not just going OD, but apart from that, there are other health concerns also, which people, simply go ahead and ignore it. Yes, even if you go to the hospital, there's an entire board written with many different medications mentioned and their side effects also. But still, we do go ahead and take it. So yes, cannabis do contain other side effects, but it's not that drastic as compared to any other drug. So yes, India, it should be legalized, it should be decriminalized, and it should be regulated properly for even for recreational users. And I mean, if others, I mean, there are a lot of researches which is going on, not just cannabis, but other drugs also, like MDMA. MDMA has reached phase 3 trials already. Psilocybin mushrooms has already reached phase 3 trials. And in fact, we have not here in India, but in United States, nasal cocaine is also available. A brand called Numbrino have already released it. So imagine if that particular medicine reaches to India, everybody will go bonkers. So I mean, our country is too not ready for this. But yes, when it comes to recreational, I do go ahead and support it. But yes, from medical point of view, it should be taken care of. It should be taken religiously and understanding the consequences that what is it going to do, what it's not going to do, what are the effects. Yes, responsibly consumption is what is the number one key. That's what I believe. However, rest what other people do with it, it's their decision. It's not in our hands. But it's I would say nobody has the right to stop the person that how it should be consumed.
Right.
That is what really
Right.
matters.
Right, Brujendra, and I think you have very categorically mentioned this point. And I want to see one side, being a doctor and being a medical practitioner. Definitely, we are having a focus on the medical cannabis usage. But you are absolutely right. If we can have cigarettes at a pawn shop, which is causing cancer and so many
Hmm.
other diseases in community, we have liquor. Yesterday, I was seeing the video. Entire Delhi going mad, and it was lockdown, and the entire Delhi is purchasing liquor, and it is damaging your liver. It is damaging your so many organs. If we can have all these readily available, why not cannabis and why not cannabis related products? the danger and the harmful effect is less as compared to these two readily available dangerous addiction agents. So that is my only viewpoint, and I always state this thing, that if we can have cigarettes, tobaccos, and these things, and if I can have liquor, why can't we have cannabis? Because again, for recreational, as you have mentioned, so there is a reason why people are having liquor and why people are having cigarettes. And again, I will say that if people are having people are who are in fact addicted, and if we start using in de-addiction, that will really help, and we have already done that in our clinic. So if you talk about on that aspect as well, it is really helpful. And in fact, on one side cigarette is causing cancer, and on the other side taking CBD and CBD products are preventing or maybe reducing the risk of cancer, and that has been proven in various researches, although they are at initial level, but still it will be there. So thank you so much for bringing this aspect. Sometimes being a doctor and being a medical professional, we can't say this openly, but yes, if we do the risk benefit analysis of all the recreational products available in our country, this will come as a having majority in the benefit section as compared to the risk sections. So on the same note, I would like to switch on to the next panelist. They are from a group, because if we talk about recreational, so bhang as such in our country has been used in certain communities and in certain geographical locations. There are shops of bhang, and there are vendors, and there are government regulated platforms available. And still, we think it a very negative aspect. But if you see as a medical aspect, microdosing of any particular person who takes cannabis will always help and will always ensure benefits rather than the side effects. And the second part, which we have not discussed yet, is the classical Ayurveda medicines like Vijayavati, Vijaya Churan, and so many other. Around 190 classical formulations are there in Ayurveda from so many years. And this particular company and this particular group are very much advocating, are very much manufacturing, and I really appreciate the knowledge and the thought process of Mr. Gavish Jain. He is the founder of Sun and Relief. And thank you so much, Gavish, for joining us today. So
Thank you.
please give us some insight on the classical, on the traditional usage of cannabis and commonly known as bhang. Second, you people are one of the leading organization in terms of the manufacturing, in terms of helping companies who are marketing, manufacturing good quality products. You are also having your own tinctures as well, your own brand as well, and on the same side, you are helping so many organizations with the help of contract manufacturing, third party manufacturing, and so on, so models. So, being a manufacturer, being a person and the organization associated with the raw material and the cultivators as well. So, I would like you to bring that aspect as well in the today's discussion, which we are still missing in terms of the challenging you people are having, getting raw material, getting collaboration with the cultivators, and that kind of aspects also we need to understand. So specifically, please mention about the classical Ayurveda preparation which you people have, the challenges or the way forward as a manufacturer of cannabis products, and the cultivation and the challenges in the raw material procurement and that kind of aspects. Over to you, Gavish.
Thank you, Dr. Piyush, and good evening to everyone, all our fellow panelists, and all our viewers right now. So, firstly, it's great that Indian Vedyas and CBD Vedyas has come together, and you guys have created this beautiful platform, which is going to help many people to get the kind of relief that they require for themselves. So, I'm going to try and divide this conversation into two parts. Firstly, I'd like to tell you about our organization, which is Mehta Ayurvedic Sansthan. Me and my partner, Mr. Gaurav Mehta, he's the family who has started Mehta Ayurvedic Sansthan, and we were lucky to be given one of the first licenses to make cannabis-based formulations, medically approved formulations in India, and our first license was issued in 1986. Sometimes when we tell this to people, there's a very big question mark on their faces that how come you guys are there for over 30 years in manufacturing cannabis medicine and formulations in India. But as everyone knows, and panelists before me had also elaborated on the fact that there were regulations that have, kind of made the whole cannabis medicine industry into a big taboo question mark that a lot of people don't understand. So, telling about Mehta Ayurvedic Sansthan and firstly the in-house capabilities that we have. So, we are one of the few necessary license holders and formulation experts with in-house R&D facilities. We would also be having the channels to source all our government sourced raw material, that is the cannabis biomass that is available to us. It definitely is a channel which has its own issues and problems. It's not at all organized, and as many of you know, and people before me have elaborated, is mostly controlled by red tape and government. So the issue there is to source the best kind of biomass and raw materials that we can to provide good formulations to all our patients. This obviously has taken us more than 30 years of manufacturing cannabis and the experience that we have gathered to have these checks and balances in place, where continuous testing, the in-house R&D facilities, us having our own in-house extraction plants, and end-to-end in-house manufacturing capabilities to dispatch capabilities with all the licenses and all the regulations being followed has been one of the biggest things that has helped us in maintaining the quality that we have been providing to the millions of customers. To keep the conversation short and to discuss a very big question that has been raised in the beginning of this whole debate, this whole conversation is the question that we should be asking. So the question that me and Gaurav, after being in the industry for more than 30 years and serving millions and millions of patients, over the period of 1 year, we are able to, maybe fulfill the needs of millions of patients, is that when it comes to relief, shouldn't people be given a choice? The biggest thing that should be one of the focus points of us as an industry is that after identifying the problem, which is of not having safer or trusted or time honored treatments, which CBD Vedyas is also trying to solve, is to try and come up with ways where we can bring out cannabis medicine from the shadows and to give it its rightful place. This can only happen if patients especially are being told of the right benefits, about the right treatments, the risks that are associated with it. And obviously, once we have been able to give them that information, it is after all the patient's choice, because they never got a choice with their ailment. So they should be at least given a choice with their treatment. So that being said, I'd like to just conclude, thank Dr. Piyush and thank CBD Vedyas for this platform. We are very happy, and we are very thankful to Dr. Piyush that he's made us part of this conversation. We've had the opportunity to discuss these specific points of standardization, of R&D, of sourcing of raw material with multiple of different players, wherein we have discussed white labeling with a number of players. And the biggest issue that has come about to us is from all these different discussions is the question mark that lies in the quality. But that being said, even through the government channels, because of our experience and because of the long channel that we've had, all the testing that we've done, and this has come about in front of us, that the Indian strain and the Indian plant has the biggest efficacy, and the Ayurvedic formulations, out of which we have more than 40 proprietary formulations that we have passed. We are lucky enough to be one of the organizations which is exporting formulations on a regular basis. We are lucky to have our formulations which have been approved in multiple countries other than India as well. So it obviously has many difficulties, but we as an industry, if we come together, we are very sure that with all the resources that we have, we can definitely take this to the next level, and we can ask this question to everyone, that why not give everyone the chance to choose their form of relief rather than pushing opioids or any other medicine treatment to them. With that, I'll thank you, Dr. Piyush. Please, would be great if you could take over.
Thank you, Gavish. And I think this is one of the very important aspect which you have mentioned, the choice of treatment. Because ultimately, end of the day, the patient, the people, the person who is suffering, they should have this right and this choice. I request all the panelists to be with us. We have lots of questions, although we have a limited time, so we'll not be able to take all the questions. But quickly, we want to take few. Prior to that, we have another young, energetic, dynamic guy, and the brand is excellent, beautiful packaging, awesome site they have created, and I think we need these kind of people because packaging matters equally as compared to the quality. The good packaging should be there, the good presentation should be there. Digitally, we have to position ourselves. We have to create a market which many panelists have emphasized. So these people are doing all the things in a right way, in a right manner. The latest technology, the latest tools they are inculcating and infusing in their platforms, which is need of the hour right now. To the millennials, if we need to position this particular domain, to show them in their language and in their way, but they understand. So, Rohan, without wasting much time, I would like to invite you on the panel discussion today. You can just unmute yourself and maybe join us. And Rohan is the founder of Canary, and it's a startup. They have recently launched their products. So maybe you can have your experiences. You can share with us what exactly the challenges are there, and way forward in 2021, what you people are looking forward as far as this particular industry is concerned. Over to you, Ron.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for introducing me. We started last year during the lockdown. We were planning our cannabis venture for the past 3 years. Siddharth and I, my partner, and I've been in the hemp space right from 2015. We've actually dabbled with like cosmetics, food products, but our end goal was eventually medical cannabis. And that way, we were out there looking for the best extract, what was available in India, how we could get around regulation. I think most people have already covered that. Provided we formulated about 4 different products and have 2 more, which will be released in the next 3 weeks. Uh, uh, Actually tackling so many problems that are there. India is number 2 after China in lifestyle diseases because of the population and the lifestyle choices that people make over here. So we are purely focused on that, providing relief from these uh, ailments that are there. We also are very focused on the entourage effect of full spectrum cannabinoids with terpenes included. So that way we've recently acquired a CO2 extractor, and our first batch of CO2 extracted cannabis extract is also ready. We've been formulating different products with the help of consultants, pharma consultants, in making the best possible product available to everyone. Like from your topicals, including using CO2 extracted turmeric oil. We've experimented a lot with uh, our own, extracts that way. Cannabis being the main ingredient in it, the active ingredient, but we're also experimenting with, ashwagandha extract, oleoresin, or turmeric CO2 extracted oil, seeing the difference between a normal product and because cannabis hasn't been used with a lot of Indian herbs in foreign markets yet. So you can make, you can use modern technology to use our locally available herbs as well. We are actually moving our unit to Uttarakhand right now, and we should be able to provide like very high quality. See, again, people had addressed the problem of there being a quality with heavy metals and pesticides, because what is being farmed is all wild over here. What you receive from the excise department is all wild, wildly grown hemp leaf. What we want to do is control that as well, even if it's to start off with hemp leaf, control that seed so that you get like a consistent supply of cannabinoid ratio over there, and formulate the best products to give out in the market. We're purely research oriented. We are also in talks with a lot of private big institutions, I would say, or like hospital chains, to bring our products to retail as well, hospital slash pharmacy chain. So I won't take up too much of anybody else's time. and this is exactly what we're up to. If you guys would like to see our extract, we're definitely open to collaborating with other people, you know, do collaborative products as well. That's how we can that's how we can, put our brains together, come up with the right formulations, and then tap into a market which maybe the other person hasn't identified yet. So yeah, I think I'll stop right now and go head over to back to you, doctor. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I quickly request all the panelists to please be available for the question answer discussions. And thank you, Rohan. And I think you people are already there. And as you mentioned, and I met you and Siddharth as well. So you both are having good insights in terms of this particular industry is concerned. And we are looking forward to have your products, and that will definitely benefit the entire community. Thank you so much for joining in today. Quickly, we have some questions, and I request all the doctors also, all the healthcare practitioners also. If you need to connect to any company, do let us know your email ID, contact number. We will connect you to the company, and you can take it forward. We are a platform facilitating the connections and the communications with all the organizations. So you can directly connect with them, and just share your email ID or maybe contact number, whatever you want to share. Our email ID is flashing, so you can write us as well. And let's quickly start with the question answer discussions. So, Jahan, the first question for you, I think you have mentioned about certain trials which you are doing as far as certain institutes are concerned. Still, many doctors and many organizations are also are not aware, or maybe they have less information. Quickly, you can answer the question is from one doctor. I think Doctor uh, Manish Sharma. He is asking this question. So he wants to understand how people can get involved into clinical trials. So it's like only you people are doing with the organizations, or if somebody is practicing in their clinic, is there any post marketing study or survey which generally pharma companies or Ayurveda companies do? So is there anything which you people are also have or planning maybe in future, or only the organizations are there? And the same question for some from some companies also, if any company want to do any clinical trial, how you can guide them and how you can have give them the insight that they can do the clinical trial with any organization. So maybe both aspects you can quickly let us know.
Sure. No, thank you so much for that, Dr. Piyush. I think, first of all, to clarify, our current open label single arm studies are single center trials. Of course, over the course of time with other centers and institutions, we are exploring multi-centric trials. Our goal with doctors, keeping in mind working on an individual basis, and there is a certain hierarchy for gaining clinical data and information. A key part of it is actually maintaining observational records of individual patients, working with doctors to assess that data on a month by month, quarter by quarter basis, which is something we directly engage with doctors with a view that, and we've already had several queries from several other doctors, including oncologists, towards extending or bridging, creating bridging studies for some of our existing open label single arm studies. Towards more multi-centric trials. So in that sense, that is something we are always sort of open to discussing. It is something that we work one-to-one with doctors to generate CRFs and generate the observational data to be able to establish their safety, tolerability, and efficacy for the patient, such that it becomes a good case record, which eventually moves into cohort studies and then, of course, into the preclinical and the clinical stages of this. So, of course, always open, and we're always happy to connect with doctors who are sort of wishing to have a discussion and explore these territories from a clinical domain perspective.
Right, right. Thank you so much for this clarification. And we definitely would like to invite all the doctors who want to associate or collaborate with Boheco, Bombay Hemp Company. Please write to us. We will ensure that you are connected to them, and accordingly you can take it forward. Next question is for you, Raghav. And as you have mentioned about the global scenarios, so the question is specifically as we understand in India, what happens is, for example, in pharma industry, and this is one of my friend Vikram. He is in clinical research, so he has sent me a WhatsApp message, a very detailed and long question. Quickly, I will brief that. So what happens in pharma industry is any drug has been approved in, for example, US and Europe or any other country, and they submit the document in India and they get the approval in India as well, or maybe they ask to do a clinical trial in India and then they get the approval. But as far as cannabis is concerned, we know that there are certain drugs approved in US or Europe, but I think there are challenges in India right now as far as the same blueprint or the same pathway. If we need to follow that, we submit that data of US, or US FDA has approved one drug, or MHRA of Europe has approved some drug. And if we are submitting that data, I don't think so right now there is a mechanism or there is a scope that some pharma company or some drug is getting approval in India. What are your thoughts on that, and what exactly maybe if you people have any experience on that particular aspect?
Sure, I'll try to answer that to the best of my knowledge, Doctor. My understanding is that while there have been some amendments to the clinical trial rules in the past 2 years, so that some equivalences have been drawn with various other jurisdictions where you do not need to repeat the entirety of your clinical research here, and you can draw equivalences and therefore get your products registered in the country. I think the main challenge, and perhaps Jahan and others might also have some perspective on this, I think the main challenge is that because cannabis and its various cannabinoids are not recognized in the Indian pharmacopoeia, specifically the chemicals themselves, so the DCGI would consider any cannabis medicine as a new chemical entity. And if it is a new chemical entity, then as per my understanding of the current rules, it has to go through the entire clinical research process. And we are probably not able to ask for an equivalence of the research that is being done in other jurisdictions that DCGI now recognizes for their clinical trial data. So I think that is perhaps the main limitation. It requires some amount of patience. Obviously, like Jahan mentioned, they are doing a fair amount of clinical research. It would require multi-site studies, but it's also a factor. It's a commercial equation as well, right? You have to take a call on whether you have, let's say, the necessary budgets to be able to conduct studies, which are nominally expensive, if I were to put it that way. Much cheaper than if you were to do it in Switzerland or Canada or the US, but still it is a significant cost equation as well. So I think that while there have been some improvements in the regulatory architecture, when it comes to cannabinoid based medicines, we would still need to go through the standard clinical trial pathways applicable to Western medicine.
Right. Thank you so much for this clarification. Sumit, specifically one question for you. And in fact, this question I want to ask to the entire panelists. We have a limited time today. Maybe we can have another discussion, another panel discussion on this, which we need to understand. That is the price regulation. Because what happens is in any industry, in fact, in allopathic, there is a price regulation. Right now, we have seen this antiviral MS also government has regulated the price. Now, your 3000 mg bottle comes at around 2100. Some other companies selling at around 4000. I have seen companies selling at around 8000 or 10,000 as well. A 3000 mg 30 ml bottle is concerned. Then is it your quality pathetic or bad, or their quality is very superior, or vice versa? So don't mind. We have to be very transparent and we have to be very honest in putting up this question, because see, as a doctor I have so many brands on my table, and now in this industry is growing, I will have 5 brands on my table. One is costing 10,000 rupees for same 300 mg full spectrum Vijay extract 30 ml bottle, and the same I have a 2100 MRP 3000 mg 30 ml Vijay extract full spectrum bottle. How I will decide that what is good for my patient and what is not? Your thoughts on that, Sumit?
So, first of all, is that every batch of our product undergoes a third-party testing in government, affiliated lab. So that kind of something which makes sure that the quality is not compromised until unless you not pass on those metrics, the product cannot be, the product cannot be in the market. So when it comes to the quality, we absolutely sell top-notch quality. There's no second thought about it. So one of the reason why we are able to sell cheaper is purely a business decision that I've taken. It does significantly cost, hampers the cost for the companies, the profit margin. But as I said, as a company, the thought process remains on offering affordable medication. We have to pick what exactly are we going to choosing upon. So keeping the prices low is purely a business decision. Quality remains something that the government has set standards for. We have all the product has to go through it. if we do not go through it, we cannot be out in the market. So, uh, obviously, I guess regulations is something on the, uh, I guess in the pricing is when government decides to on a crisis basis. I believe the medications related to COVID has come across the entire pricing because of the relevance that they have. Uh, I mean, that's what I can add from my end in terms of our product and our process. Yeah, please, Raghav.
May I just add to this point, Doctor? I think it's a very valid question. It also alludes to what both Sumit and several other speakers mentioned in their talk. Price is critical in a market like India, and certainly none of these products, whether they're 2,000, 10,000, they're entirely outside the affordability spectrum of the vast majority of individuals. And this leads to perhaps a point that I mentioned and others did on the disease burden. If you just look at cancer, my guesstimation, having worked on some aspects of, let's say, cancer-related industries, advising, setup of, let's say, cancer infrastructure in the past, my understanding is that about 15 to 20% is the estimate, is what is recorded as cancer incidents in the country. Despite the cancer registries going up, despite us having a national cancer portal, just the capture of the disease or the epidemiology is very, very limited. Of the, let's say, approximate maybe even 20 to 30% of patients suffering from various cancers who do avail some form of medical assistance, majoritarily end up reaching caregivers or centers of assistance in their terminal stages of their illness. And even those who do, and those who perhaps reach institutes such as Tata Memorial, perhaps the National Cancer Institute, AIMS, even other large established private public sector entities, the infrastructure capacity is such that of that 20%, let us say, who do reach some medical facilities, only perhaps 30% of that subset is actually given a consultation. Just our infrastructure is so limited, both at the level of beds, doctors, equipment, that there is really very, very little care that is dispensed. So the disease burden is absolutely massive. This also relates to the point on pricing. We do in India have a national pharma pricing authority, as you would be aware. They specify what ceiling prices of medicines are, those that are considered essential medicines. I think that we're a far ways away from cannabis entering the essential medicines category. I think we need to first establish the fact that there is significant efficacy and relief provided by various formulations. And sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, but when it comes to pricing, also, I think, Sumit, you're absolutely right that it is a commercial decision. You have to be careful about where you are pricing your product so as to also ensure sustainability of the business ultimately. And especially when it is a nascent industry, you need to ensure that the efforts that you put into various aspects of developing both your business and the industry at large, you have enough cash flow or capital available to invest in those. You don't want to go bust, right? Especially when you are starting out. It is critical that you manage, I suppose, the cash flow. And I don't want to dispense any business advice here, but I think it is very, very important to make sure that you have enough revenue or cash flow from what products you bring to the market so that you can invest that both into your own R&D, but also into pushing the frontiers, whether they're regulatory, whether they're, the doctor sensitization, or whether it is, pushing the quality parameters, or whether it is backward integration to cultivation, for example, that some of the panelists mentioned. That's it, in brief.
Right,
Apart
right.
from this, I believe, sorry to cut you in, what I believe is the demand and the supply is what needs to be taken care of at this point of time. I mean, right now the prices are high, it's very costly, but at the moment, again, as our panelists just mentioned, that most of the products or the raw materials are being acquired from the wild. All right. Let's say, for example, in Uttarakhand, there is 10,000 acres of land which has been allotted for hemp cultivation, but we don't know so far how much of those land has been, utilized. And apart from that, we don't have much of the land in the entire country which has been used industrially or for the production purpose for the cannabis medicines or any other hemp products. We don't have that. All of them are, procured from the wild, be it seed, be it stock, be it fiber, be it anything that has been, procured from the wild. So yes, again, the extraction process, yeah, that is pretty much expensive, be it CO2 or be it ethanol base or any other means of extraction that we have. Yes, the cost effectiveness will come, will reduce significantly once the supply and the demand increases. So right now, I'm pretty much sure that most of the manufacturers are procuring their raw materials from either Madhya Pradesh or from Odisha or from Uttarakhand. Apart from that, I don't think that there is any other state who is heavily supplying the raw materials, if I'm correct. So once other states, gets involved into when they go ahead and start the cultivation, yeah, gradually the price will reduce. At this point of time, yeah, it's kind of unfortunate to say that the prices are pretty much expensive. But yes, let's give it a little bit of time, and I'm pretty much sure that yes, the prices will come down, and it will be affordable to anybody who is looking for access to medical cannabis or any type of cannabis product they're looking for.
Vikram, your thoughts on products pricing, because you are already dealing with food and cosmetic products as well. And although, as we have discussed and we have understood that there are certain challenges to the pricing, what exactly you people understood, and how you decided that this particular pricing we need to do for our products?
No, I completely agree with whatever Sumit is saying, and we have to be very sure on the quality what we are producing, and they all go through all the required test and the all the testing which is supposed to happen. But unfortunately, yes, the pricing right now is on the higher side, and I completely agree that once the right amount of land will come into cultivation under legal cultivation, and the source of raw material is when it opens up, automatically the cost of production will go down. But currently it is expensive. But to add to that, I think there's one more reason why this has happened. Correct me if I'm wrong, but about 2 years back, when generally there was no awareness about this medical cannabis oral consumption products, and this industry was just probably taking birth in this country, we had an influx of a lot of imported products, which I saw about 2 years back, and the pricing was just unreal of that. 10,000, 15,000 for a 30 ml bottle, and probably people were importing at a very high price and they were selling at a very high price, but that also kind of set up a kind of a price segment of this industry which we need to break with the demand and supply of the raw material. And I think in the future we definitely will be able to break the price barriers for mass consumers to have access to it. Otherwise it will not have an effect. If the prices are going to be this high, then most of the target audience will not be reached, and all these cancers and pain related problems we're talking about, these are very general people of India. I mean, for them to buy 1,000, 1,500 rupee medicine, it puts a strain on their pocket. So without handling this problem, it'll never go into the masses. So we need to increase the supply and solve this problem.
Absolutely, I agree with you, Vikram. And on the same note, we keep on discussing these with the marketing companies, and they give the owners and they blame the manufacturing companies that their cost is too high, their costings are like that, and then we have to decide the MRP. So we
Yeah.
can't help that. So Gavish Jain is there. So now the ball is in your court. Being a manufacturer, also, if you give high costing to the companies who are marketing the products, how they can have a decent MRP? And the issue which we are discussing right now, I think your inputs and your thoughts and your valuable contribution is required. And then quickly move to Rohan and Jahan for the concluding remark on this pricing aspect, and we have to conclude the session as well. So Gavish ji, your thoughts.
Ji. So, Dr. Saab, I completely agree with the question that if the medication is not affordable, then how will it reach the people who actually require it? There are a few things, and us being Indians, we do realize the red tape and the hassles one has to go through to keep running a manufacturing facility and to maintain the kind of quality that we have maintained. We as a company are, I think, one of the only companies which are even giving a medication at 700 rupees, which is one of the lowest prices that we have kept in the market for a formulation of that quantity of biomass product and the butty formulation that we have given. We personally believe, me and my partner Mr. Gaurav, always whenever we speak to white labeling customers, we look at the company which is approaching us, we look at their vision. For us, charging that exorbitant amount is not the first priority. But that being said, there are certain expenses a manufacturer has to bear to maintain his quality. If I'm not able to maintain my quality, then there is no point in offering that product to the people who are coming to us as well. That being said, whoever is in the game for long term in the cannabis industry and wants to work for the cannabis industry, I can definitely vouch that many people know this about me and my partner, that pricing is not our main concern. The concern is the vision that one has for the market. So that is something that I can completely guarantee that once someone, any one of you who comes to us for any white labeling opportunities, pricing will not be the concern. The quality will be our main concern, to provide you a product which actually goes to the patient. He gets the benefit from it, and you get a repeat consultation or a repeat order from that person. That being said, we are also trying to expand our facilities. We have a now WHO approved facility. We have expanded our 4 factories to a scale wherein we are almost about to export in this financial year more than 1 crore liquid syrups to other markets, wherein the pricing obviously has to be low if we have to be competitive. So we're trying to bring down our costings as we speak, and in the future we hope to provide it to multiple people at a very affordable price.
Great, great. Thank you so much. And quickly, Jahan and Rohan, your inputs and your thoughts on this pricing issue which we are discussing, and accordingly we can take it forward for the session of the day. Jahan, you want to comment on this pricing aspect?
Sure. I think just briefly highlighting, sort of summarizing everyone's conclusions, which are very apt and succinct. I think the key behind this, it's a matter of inevitability for a price reduction from a COG as a raw material or semi-finished material perspective between 20 and 30% in the next 12 to 15 months. Because look, we're looking at two very different supply chains. Number one is the supply chain that exists between a state excise and another state excise for collection and then sale to the state excise, where quotas are decided and upgraded year on year depending upon the demand, which inherently comes through greater efficacy of an Ayurvedic formulation made from such leaves. Now, keeping that back in mind, the growth of the continuous supply from the existing mediums, that is the state excise mediums for use by manufacturers holding the relevant licenses. Number one, I believe there is very important for industry and government reconciliation to be able to assess how the centralization of this raw material supply works and what batch by batch variation we're looking at first things first. That is for the short to medium term. But the larger medium to long term plug and play is the natural inevitable vertical integration, where through cultivation cycles and being able to move into medical cultivation, both at small as well as mid to large scale commercial levels, with several state governments sort of poised to do that. But of course, with COVID and a lot of inevitable delays, have sort of held back. But it is a matter of time. I think it's inevitable. It's not if, it's when the price begins to rapidly de-escalate. And then I believe the onus will be on us as industry to self-govern, govern each other, work together to be able to ensure that pricing and pricing strategy for the larger industry is of a greater consequence. And what I mean by that is very clear. When we are looking at cannabis as an analgesic, for example, you're not competing against other Ayurvedic classical formulations only. You're competing against the tramadols of the world, the codeines of the world, NSAIDs of the world. When you're looking at OA or RA, you're looking at tocilizumab along with other NSAIDs. Each one has their own pattern of drug, I would say, medical drug consumption on a month-to-month basis, which varies on a cost-to-cost and severity basis. Being able to align as an industry allows the entire industry an opportunity from the future pricing and quality enhancement point of view to be able to penetrate at a similar price point where conventional alternatives exist today. And that's where I'm sure, as many would have seen or encountered in their personal and professional lives. For example, sourcing opioids and morphine, even for a for a pharmacy or for a hospital is a very cumbersome process. It's about 47 to 50 different documents. The central government maintains the stock. They reissue the stock. Sometimes stock is not there. Sometimes there's stock variability. Sometimes they test it and realize it's not what their government is claiming. There is so much gap in intervention that inherently existed and has developed from India's natural opioid cultivation to the access of opioids and morphines to Indian patients who require it. It's the mistakes of that we need to learn from. The experiences of that we need to learn from, because our unique advantages as a Ayurvedic proprietary medicine, there is a greater, clearer regulatory pathway where onus falls on us to ensure, number one, when the time comes from a supply, whether sourcing from wild supply and working with excise agencies, or number two, from a cultivation based supply perspective, there is greater QC happening, greater standard happening, and greater price control happening in, I would say, a unanimous fashion. Because I think somebody made a very clear point that this India is the heartland of generics. Here is not the game where you're going to play a patented or proprietary nature of pharmaceutical, phytopharmaceutical. This is open access for all. This is the greatest source of open domain access for healthcare. And this is where we need to be able to work together to be able to enhance that. As you said, the price may not be accessible today, but interestingly enough, what we've noticed is if a patient is of a dire consequence and is required, even from Firozpur in Punjab, or from, say, Ganganagar in Rajasthan, or from a sort of a rural part of Mizoram, we still see patients looking for access to this. The key is, A, is it going to help them? How are you going to put it into their hands? And most importantly, how are you going to guarantee that the price will continue to move in a downward direction while quality moves upwards? Which, of course, is not only an individual effort from one organization or the other, it's all of us looking out for each other. Because that's how we will grow this from, say, a $3 and $4 million actual realized market potential vis-a-vis $500 million potential actual market opportunity that we have, and be able to grow the pie rather than, as someone said, being able to play in limited pie. We have to enhance how the pie works, and that can only come through inevitable sort of price stabilization, which sort of fits into the Indian healthcare domain in many ways.
Right. Thank you so much for this input. And Rohan, quickly want to have some inputs on the pricing aspect, and accordingly, then we can take it forward. You can just unmute yourself, please.
Also, to add to all of that, the main problem with the pricing right now is because the biomass has very small amounts of cannabinoids in it, so you will have to process a lot more biomass, a lot more ethanol going in. So that's one main reason why the extract is very expensive at this point. And also the manufacturer has to take some profits because there are not too many out there. The only way this could improve is if we are allowed to use flower biomass. That's when you can extract a lot more cannabinoids from this, and then you have standard quality also. If you have like a Himalayan strain growing over there, you have so many other cannabinoids, you'll have a much better profile for the whole extract itself. And I think that can be grown in huge quantities, contracted to tribals, farmers, and then procure the biomass and extract from that way. I think if the governments do move in that direction where they let companies use flour, I think the price will drastically fall for this as well.
Right, absolutely. I agree with you. And again, it is a very sensitive issue. And what I feel personally is we can have various variants. See, as far as pricing is concerned, there are certain ways to ensure that each category and each segment of the society is having, like, for example, in Ayurveda, also we have seen. So, there are classical medicines which are very economical in terms of the tablet, in terms of the chunas, in terms of the various other like vatis, guglus, and also these are a bit economical range which we offer to the patients. And there are some proprietary medicines, and there are some specifically combinations which companies are developing after a good research. And as Raghav clearly mentioned, that there are certain amount of investment and a certain amount of aspects are there, so we completely respect that as well. So those products are there as far as the proprietary or patent products in Ayurveda domain. So they have their own cost which has to be there. So pricing can be addressed by focusing that we grow and develop the classical formulations which are already mentioned in Ayurveda as far as cannabis is concerned, because there are very less company or negligible company who are manufacturing that. And I also want to request two, three aspects, and then we will conclude this session, because we have the leading organizations and the founders, owners, co-founders of the organizations. What is happening right now is the community, the doctor community, is not that much aware. We have seen allopathy doctors, many allopathy doctors are advocating, but still they have not been educated or they have not been informed about this particular herb, that is medical cannabis. In West, we see doctors training certification, doctor doing exhaustive like training, and they are gaining the knowledge and then they are practicing. In India, we have not seen anything like this. In Ayurveda, although it's there in our classical books and context, but nobody is teaching this in colleges. Nobody, no one of like in our internship or our training also, nobody is practicing. That's why we are not being trained on this. But now, by virtue of doing practice, like for example, if I say about my personal experience, so we gain through the practice. Then we did some certifications from international platforms, and then gradually we are at this level right now that we can handle. But so many companies are just for sake of selling the products or selling the medicines. The prescription is just a formality. It's just a document which they have to have for the sale, because sometimes regulators are asking. It is also a gray area, but still many companies are playing safe and they are keeping prescriptions at least for the internal tinctures which like they are selling. So but the point is, the doctors, and for the classical formulation also, I've seen a couple of startups. They are positioning that they are at so many clinics, they are at so many places, but when we talk about when we talk with the doctors, they don't have any clue. They are just dumping their stock at the clinic and they are just giving them the credit. Okay, you just sell these and then pay the amount. This is not the way of doing a business, by the way. So don't mind if like I'm saying anything wrong. I can take my words back. But this is not the way of doing any business, and you're just dumping the stock at a clinic of a doctor and just asking them to push the sales without giving them the knowledge, without giving them the actual understanding about this very very sensitive herb. On one side we are saying it is safe, it is effective. On the other side, it is also sensitive. You can't give randomly to anybody any amount of tablets or any amount of drop. Few drops here and there can give so much of discomfort and so much of negativity in the mind of patient about this particular herb, which we need to understand. So I also request, see, the aim of starting this platform CBT Vedas is to spread knowledge, the technical knowledge to the doctors and the general knowledge to the community. And we need all of you to collaborate, and we need all of you to associate. We have just created this platform, but you are the people who can lead this platform. This is for all of you. This platform is for all of you, for all the organizations who are listening to us, for all the doctors who are listening to us, who want to actually do the practice in a sensible manner. We have a screening questionnaire also if you want to list your profile on our platform, or you have to qualify our certification. We will not randomly list any doctor on this platform. Sorry, if you are experienced, you can qualify our screening questionnaire with an exhaustive question on the medical cannabis practice, which we have designed by discussing various senior doctors practicing in India and globally. So you can qualify that question, and then we can have your profile. We'll not randomly list any doctor's profile on our website until or unless we will ensure that they are well qualified, experienced, and have knowledge of practicing medical cannabis. So I think this is very crucial aspect which we all need to understand, and we need to take it forward if we want to really grow this industry in a good manner. Apart from this, all of you can promote the food products. FSSAI, the recent amendment, I think all of you are aware that FSSAI is including these products in their purview as well. So all the hemp seed oil, all the hemp seeds, cosmetics, external oil applications, everything is fine, and you people can promote and sell that. But at least the internal tinctures, although Brujendro has mentioned and many platforms are doing that, somebody wants for a wellness or well-being, that is fine. Still, it's an internal product and it requires some medical guidance initially, how to start, how to take it forward. Like for example, one small example I want to quote, and then we will be concluding this session. uh, Insomnia like is a very common problem. People are not able to sleep, and these days, due to again this wave, people are in depression, tension, anxiety, and many times I have seen doctors are just prescribe you, okay, this much of drop at bedtime. You need to understand that this particular herb will have a gestation period of having a bioavailability in your body. So at least 1.5 hour prior to their bedtime, you have to advocate that to the patient. Then only it will show the impact. So many times we got this query, Doctor Saab, some doctor has suggested me that okay, take this drop at my bedtime is at around 11:30, but when I take at bedtime, I don't have a sleep for next 1.5 hour. because it will act after an hour, after 1.5 hours. So you need to understand this very simple basic point, that you have to ask them, okay, what is your bedtime? Your bedtime is 11:30, then take this much of drop at around 10. Then you will be able to get a adequate effect at 11:30, and you will to sleep well. And by the way, mind you, many patients have given this feedback. First time in their life they are able to sleep that well. They are off from their harmful sedatives. Many patients were taking 2 or 3, 4 sedatives. And I shared one case study, one of the product like we have recommended from Sumit Happy Hem. So that patient has shared this feedback. Boheco, we have recommended certain products from your organization, excellent quality, mind you. Your products are like, people are fan of your products. They want to use only your products. That is the loyalty you are getting. Gavish, Sanan, I'm fan of your Modak Bati and the churn, the blend of dry fruits, and you are having this. And so many patients are having a very economical product, by the way, as you correctly mentioned. And we keep on getting this feedback. So, Rohan, we need to start your product as soon as we will be live. We'll be starting that as well. But your
Yep.
samples were excellent, and many other companies right now not
Thank you.
here, but as far as Ananta and other companies were there. So I request, and Raghav, we are getting good feedback from your products, although personally we have not started yet, but we are getting good feedback from the people who have started using your product. Your brand name is Polaris, nice name, by the way. And so thank you so much again for joining us today. And I really request all of you to please have this thought in your mind, that ethical medical cannabis practice should be promoted in our country, rather than just vouching for the good sales. Definitely, sales will come as a byproduct, which has to be there. And I request all of you to be safe, take care of your family. Few of our panelists were not able to continue because some people in their family are having some issues with their health. So these days we are facing this pandemic also. So please be safe, and thank you all of you for joining us today. It was an exciting. I am just realized it is around 2 hours 21 minutes right now, and we haven't realized this much of time we have taken today for the discussion. And I have also thank all the participants. I can see huge number of participants have attended this across the various platforms. So thank you so much again, all of you, for joining us today. Have a great week ahead, and looking forward to have many more interesting associations and sessions with all of you and your respective organizations. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Piyush. Take care.
Thank you, Dr.